Boom, right there. Test. Okay, cool. Appreciate you. All right, yeah, I don't know, like I'm trying to figure out all the audio settings like myself, so I appreciate you guys helping me out. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right. Okay. Um auto yeah, and I have a new system, so I appreciate you guys hanging tight. Like even I'm trying to get lined up. All right. Here we go. All right, so I want to talk about, these are the topics that I want to discuss today. So we have some recruiting updates. As you know, Landon Simmons, he's the newest commit to the Alabama Crimson Tide. I'll fix those stars and I'll make sure the graphics are all tightened up so everything looks good to go. I appreciate you guys, sticking with me. Jackson Lloyd, is he next to commit? Let me know what you think. I think he's going to be the next to commit. I mean, you guys have the same, recruiting updates that I get. I think Jackson Lloyd is probably going to be the next to commit. 5 stars on campus. You got Khalid Lockett, big time wide receiver, and Caleb Edwards, a big time wide receiver slash tight end out of Mississippi, and a huge weekend as you have Dejon Lee, Ty Jackson. So let's kind of start at the top and let's talk about Landon Simmons. And if you missed my morning show this morning, don't worry about it. I mean, you can go watch on the reset. I'm always kind of coming back here with different type of updates. And when we look to the particular prospects that we had on board, and that's Landon Simmons. You have a prospect who's coming in, and I said this, and if you watch my morning show, there's no like breaking update. I'm just going to kind of go over some new notes that I have here written out after, kind of the dust has settled this morning. So Landon Simmons comes in. He was recruited by Freddie Roach. Freddie Roach was retained by Coach Kalen DeBoer, one of 2 coaches to this Alabama coaching staff, Robert Gillespie being the second one. And I think when you have a prospect that comes in, don't get too caught up in these 5-star and 3-star rankings. Do we want 5 stars? Yes, that is the standard of Alabama. But I think when you look to defensive tackles, like slow down a bit. I think defensive tackles more than any other position in college football needs to be developed. And I asked this to my morning group and I'll ask this to my midday group as well. Who was the last true freshman to come in at the defensive tackle position and to be able to immediatally start? I think it's been a while probably in terms of a defensive tackle to come in. So I think he's a 4-star in Rivals. I follow On3. I think it just makes a better sense to me, like interface. I'm not paid by On3 or Rivals or 24/7. I'm just honestly a content creator, just professionally on YouTube. So I think when you looked at Landon Simmons, you have a player who's going to come in, get developed, and honestly, Mississippi has some really good prospects. I mean, you look at Aiken Deer, who was just here as well. And I think Alabama rolled out the red carpet for him. He's a running back. But before we talk about him, let's go over a couple different notes. So you have Landon Simmons, who is in. And then I wanted to ask you guys, who's next? You have Jackson Lloyd, who I think is probably everybody's kind of, looking at Jackson Lloyd. And I think when you look to a prospect like Jackson Lloyd, he's a 4-star offensive tackle. He's out of California. Coach Kalen DeBoer has done a really good job in terms of making this an early pipeline. If you're going to make a state of pipeline, California, hey, that's not a bad pipeline to have considering all the prospects. I mean, think about it. Chuck McDonald, he's out of California. You have Dejon Lee, he's out of California. We'll talk about him in a minute. And then you have Jackson Lloyd, who's also out of California. So, look, he's Coach Kalen DeBoer, coached at Fresno, coached at Washington. So don't be surprised to see him dipping into the state of California in terms of making that a pipeline. I think he would probably be the next to commit. He's fresh off a visit to Tuscaloosa. And look, people are buying what Coach Kalen DeBoer is selling. And I also want to make sure that you guys understand the impact of Coach Kapilovic. Coach Kapilovic is an offensive line coach that I think is going to do a fantastic job here. He's already doing a great job. I think with the offensive line, and look, I have no idea what Eric Wolford, the last offensive line coach, would have done, but I see a lot of similarities in terms of Kapilovic and Kyle Flood. Kyle Flood was part of that championship team back in 2020, so I do like Coach Kapilovic, and I think he's doing a really good job getting offensive linemen. 2 offensive linemen so far on board. You have Michael Carroll out of Pennsylvania, and then you have Mal Waldrop, really right out of the back of Auburn's backyard out of Phoenix City. So those are the prospects who I think are next to commit, probably Jackson Lloyd. Let's talk about something that's really interesting right now, and you have some big-time players on campus. And one that just left campus is Acklandier, the number 1 running back in the state of, actually in the country, right? I think he's number 2, someplace number 1. He's out of Mississippi as well. He just came in, and Alabama rolled out the red carpet for him. Absolutely. There was photos of him with Daniel Hill and Ryan Williams. and I've talked about this plenty of times, the way that you sell the number one running back in the country to come to Alabama is you show him this is how we are going to utilize you. Robert Gillespie has a really good track record of the running backs that he has worked with here at Alabama, sent Jahmyr Gibbs to the league in the first round. I think Jahmyr Gibbs, a lot of that is because of his own natural intangibles, but you're going to get fed if you're a running back. Jam Miller, he's going to get fed. Justice Haynes is going to get fed. Richard Young, he is going to get fed as well. So that's kind of the update on Acklander. I would imagine they did make some ground. What Lane Kiffin has right now, he's cooking, and that's fine. We knew he was going to cook at Ole Miss. He's doing that. And if you look at the front of their schedule, they're going to win a lot of games. So get used to it. Lane Kiffin is recruiting at a very high level. Two updates on the offensive line. I don't have this on my graphic card, but this is really important. Two factors right here, okay? Number one, David Sanders, who was a 5-star, is no longer expected to be in Tuscaloosa this week. He's an offensive tackle. Tennessee, Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson, those seem to be the favorites. Okay. Does it suck? Sure. I don't know why he's not coming, but this is a really good update. Ty Haywood, who is a 5-star offensive lineman out of Texas, he didn't go to Oklahoma this weekend. He was supposed to go to Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma felt really good about him. He is not visiting Oklahoma. You imagine, because everybody's asking, where the 5-stars, when the 5-stars going to come? I mean, look, they're out there. Some of them just haven't committed yet, haven't committed to Alabama yet, right? Ty Haywood, Dejon Lee. I mean, you look at Naheem Oford, potential flip. You look at Acklander, I don't know, maybe potential flip. So the guys are out there, the 5-star. So I think Alabama's going to get theirs. And just because you have a 5-star right now, LSU has plenty, Ohio State has plenty. Those guys haven't signed just yet. So let's just kind of be patient on that. Some of the guys that are on campus right now, the June 17th through June 20th, I think, is you have Khalil Lockett and Caleb Edwards. We're working our way down this graphic right here. Two very notable players. And one particular coach that we haven't talked enough about is Jamarcus Shepard. Jamarcus Shepard does a hell of a job with the wide receivers. Calls them takers. He has that energy. I think Holman Wiggins did a pretty good job with the wide receivers here at Alabama. But I think Jamarcus Shepard, he has it. He can recruit. He can coach. He's probably going to be a head football coach at some point in time. Has just this huge personality, brings that fire. If you've watched any videos behind the scenes, have you guys watched any videos of Jamarcus Shepard? I would imagine he has the most energy out of any coaches that are on the roster. This roster has that energy. They're younger. I would imagine. I think Coach Kapilovic is probably the oldest coach on the staff, but the guys are young. And you get in Khalil Lockett, and you show him kind of the past of Alabama's wideouts and the wide receivers that are currently here. But these young wide receivers that Alabama has, man. Think about it. Caleb Odom, we were just talking about this. I asked the morning crew who was here, who's going to catch more passes? No, I said more yards. Caleb Odom or Ryan Williams. I asked the lunch crew as well. I don't know who it's going to be. But I do know that Latair Brooks is a baller. What did he catch? 27 touchdown passes last year out of New Jersey. He wants to play and step on throats. That's what he said. Coming in with Ryan Williams, right? Amari Jefferson, baller. I think he's so underrated. Rico Scott, underrated. And then you look at all the other wide receivers that are on campus already that are younger guys. So the ride-out mentality is there. They're going to get there. But you bring in a player like Khalil Lockett and you show him, look, this is where we see you within this program, and everybody knows that Coach Kalen DeBoer is going to feed the wide receivers. I mean, look at the guy, Roma Duze. Some of the other guys that Washington had, they were precise route runners, and a lot of that is because Jamarcus Shepard, but, this is an offensive type of philosophy, and players want to play grass basketball. That's kind of how I look at it right now, is grass basketball. All right, Caleb Edwards also in town. Caleb Edwards is a tight end. Listed as a tight end. He's a 5-star. I don't know. I love the fact that one of the biggest things for me during springtime was the fact that Caleb Odom switched from wide receiver or from tight end to wide receiver. I've been wanting a tight end wide receiver like takeover player for such a long time here at Alabama. And let me ask you, who's been the best? Has there been a dynamic tight end at Alabama since, I don't know, was O.J. Howard, Irv Smith, right? I don't know. I think Caleb Odom's going to be that guy. I thought that it was at one point going to be Jalil Billingsley. I thought it was going to be even maybe like Terrell Shavers. Look, there's been some good guys, and no disrespect to any of the tight ends that are currently on the roster. You know, I love those guys. Robbie Oots, he's an H-back. CJ Dupree played in over 500 snaps. I just don't know if they've had like this guy who can just take over a game. And I think the way that we look to college football right now, you need one of those players. Kind of a, right? Bentley Boys saying not since OJ, right? Man, I thought Billingsley was going to be the guy. That's like one of those perplexing stories that is like, I want to know, like, I don't know what happened. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. I have no idea. But I thought he was going to be that guy. Seth is saying you kind of sound like a robot. I don't know if it's a glitch or what. Do I sound robotic? Yeah, I'm working on the audio. I know the audio probably isn't perfect, but it will be perfect. So sometimes if you followed my channels for the years, I have to be adaptive. I can't just do the same thing again and again and again. So you have to be adaptive. So what I'm doing right now is I'm like doing like a beta kind of test, because even like the size of the channel, like right now, I have to shed my own skin, right? I have to keep changing, keep evolving, keep doing different things so the channel stays fresh. And sometimes when I do go to like different systems or whatever, you might see some of the early, kind of schematics of my game plan. Like it might not be as tight as you're accustomed to. So I appreciate you guys being patient as I kind of shed some skin and kind of morph into the next wave of where the channel is. So I appreciate you, but I'm always open to feedback. So positive criticism, I'm here for it. Like I read through the comments. I listen to what you guys say. I am clearly not perfect. My standards are very, very high. So I'm always working on delivering the best product that I can. So, Demetrius, what's up, man? I think the last that I saw Alabama was 6th, and that's on 3. I think on Rivals they were 4. I think on 24/7 they might have been 3rd. So, you average those out, they're up there. They are trailing because they don't have a 5-star on board just yet. And I wanted to talk about one of these items right here on the back end, because sure, you have Khalil Lockett and Caleb Edwards, from 17th to the 20th. But on 21st, man, you have some guys. You have some guys coming in. JG saying average of number 5. And thank you, JG. You have some guys. Like this last recruiting weekend was really big. You walked away with 2 commitments. Remember, you have the punter. We didn't even talk about the punter, right? The punter, Alex Osperoff, out of California. Yeah, another guy out of California committed. I said he was the number 1 punter, and then somebody inside the chat said he was like the number 3 punter. I don't know who. I think it's Cole's like kicking academy ranks the punters. I heard that this guy is phenomenal. So you bring in another punter. Thank you. JG is saying Rivals is number 4 and 24/7 number 4. Okay, so there you go. You have the 21st. You have Dejoun Lee, and I want to ask you, okay? Is he all Bama? Do you think? Type Y inside the comment box if you think Dejoun Lee will commit to the Alabama Crimson Tide. I'm going to go ahead and type Y. I think Dejoun Lee will eventually. What's up, Carrick? I see you inside the comment box, man. I appreciate you joining me today right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Number 1 punter. That's what I thought, JG. I think Dejoun Lee will come to Alabama, and there's plenty of reasons why. Number 1, I think this is what I think will happen, okay? And I don't give a lot of predictions, but just kind of like piecing stuff together. I think Alabama gets Dejoun Lee, and I think Alabama gets Naheem Oford, okay? And I don't know. I kind of think that Alabama might even flip Ivan Taylor. Then you have Chuck McDonald. I mean, think about that recruiting class. You have all those guys in the secondary, and you know what? And I hate, look, Colin Hitchler does a hell of a job, but guys want to play for Mo Linquist. They do. Guys want to be coached up. Like, just like Dejoun Lee, right? He was just at Georgia. And he said this, I don't want a friend. I want to coach. And, you could look at that however you want. But, like, I think that after your show this morning, I'm saying no. The 5 stars are coming. Jarvis, what's up, man? I appreciate you double dipping. I think that Lindquist is that guy. He's been a head coach. I always hype him up. You got to hype up Courtney Morgan too, right? Those guys are doing a hell of a job. So, yeah, that's kind of my midday. Those are the items that I'm watching right now. Landon Simmons is in. Who's next? Jackson Lloyd. David Sanders, an offensive tackle, is a 5-star. No longer coming. Probably favored at Tennessee if I had to make a guess. 5-star. I think Alabama certainly made ground with Ackland Deer. I don't know if maybe a flip's in the cards. Ty Haywood, he didn't go to Oklahoma, so I think there's still some love there. He's a 5-star. Are we going to talk about this? Keelan Russell, all right? He's your quarterback, class of 2025. He is going to the Elite 11. And the Elite 11 is the most polished high school quarterbacks in the country. They get coached up. Sometimes there's a college counselor that might be from Alabama in the past. Like I think they had Tua there. They had Jalen Hurts. I don't know if Bryce Young ever went to go be a counselor. Whatever the case is, I used to work for the Elite 11 way back when. It was 15 years ago. And I appreciate you, Jamie. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, man. Todd, what's up, man? Appreciate you. I hope you're having a great Monday. So Keelan Russell is going over. And his quote, God, I love mentality, all right? And he said this, what did he say? He's thriving to get better. Thriving to get better, man. Yes. Man, if we are not that's why, me, I'm thriving to get better right now, even on the show. I know the audio needs to be tightened up. The beginning of the show, I'm going to have to go and clip the show. And but you got to be thriving all the time to get better. And that is the type of mentality that you want from your quarterback. Your inside linebacker, to me, the heart and soul of your team is either your center, your quarterback, or your inside linebacker. Those are the guys, right? The center down in kind of the trenches, your inside linebacker, the alpha on defense, and the quarterback. And if that is the mentality of Keelan Russell, thriving to get better, guy, what's up, man? I appreciate you being here. Man, Alabama's in good hands, right? Guy Barnes, what's up, man? I see you inside the comment box. Michael Taylor, what's up, man? Roll Tide. I love it. I love that type of mentality. Dejon Lee, Ty Jackson on the back end. I don't know. Ty Jackson, it looks like Alabama, Georgia. I'm still waiting for a prospect from Florida to commit. I'm not trying to freak anyone out. I've talked about that about a couple times. I think, at some point Alabama does get a prospect from Florida. I don't know who it'll be, but that's something that we're certainly watching. So those are the items. I know the basketball players just got new numbers. Everybody gets excited about that when jerseys start transforming, whatever. But there's been a lot of players. You know what number is back is 0. I don't know who was the great Celtics player that wore 00. Help me out, Undefeated. Who was it? Right? 00. And now you have Deontay Lawson. He's wearing 0. I think Taryn Arnold is wearing 0. I think someone on the basketball team is wearing 0. Lynn, what's up? Lynn Shantyfield, what's going on? I think we'll have 4 or 5 stars when it's all said and done. I could totally see that. And 2 done before August 15th. And I think we'll have to wait for the other 2 for signing because they want to visit in the limelight. 100%. I like that, Lynn. I think you get a 5-star. I would imagine that Dejon Lee is probably your first 5-star, and that'll be one of the guys that breaks the internet here coming up soon. I think he's committing on the 28th, and he'll be here the 21st. Sake X is saying, they did say Keelan had 5-star potential. We will see him when high school starts. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what he does at the high school level. And I love watching his highlights. I mean, the guy has dual threat ability, but he has really good touch. Robert Parrish, thank you. Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate you. He was the guy who rocked 00, right? Robert Parrish, I appreciate, man. I used to play with Robert Parrish. Anybody play? Okay, I'm about to date myself here. Did anybody else play? Tecmo football. Okay, Tecmo Bowl, we all played it. Okay, yes. But did anyone ever play Tecmo basketball? Do you remember this? They had Tecmo basketball was a great game. They had Tecmo baseball as well, but Tecmo baseball it sucked. The best video game for baseball was Ken Griffey Jr. baseball on the Super Nintendo. That game was my favorite game. But Tecmo basketball, that was Robert Parrish. Yeah, so I appreciate you. Thank you. And Todd is saying that Jackson Lloyd is a borderline 5-star. Yeah, I think he's like the number 6 overall lineman. And I talked about this morning as well. Did you see that play where you can go watch it? It's on his huddle. Matthew, right now, who's on campus? You have Khalil Lockett, 5-star, and Caleb Edwards, who's a 5-star tight end. So Lockett is a 5-star wide receiver, and Edwards is a 5-star tight end. Both of those guys on campus, the 17th through the 20th, and then the 21st, you have Dejon Lee and Ty Jackson. This next weekend for Alabama football is huge. So yeah, that's what I wanted to come and wrap with you guys just on a midday report. And again, like in the beginning of the show, if you come back and watch the rewatch before I edit it, we had some technical difficulties with the sound, but that is something that I'm working on this week. Kind of switch to a new format, so you might see more lives, but I'm always messing with something because this is what I do professionally. So if you want to become a fan funder of this YouTube channel to support me, it's only $2.99. Certainly appreciate the super chats, but that's kind of how I operate on Bama football on YouTube. So the midday report is in. Look for more news to come later on today. I am watching Jackson Lloyd, so have on all notifications. I would imagine he's next to commit at some point in time. You're in good hands with Alabama football. Coach Kalen DeBoer is doing a hell of a job. You get back to you for the midday report. I appreciate you guys. If you have any feedback for me, you can drop it inside the comment box. I'll get back to you, and I will be back on another live stream sometime soon, but always at 7:30 in the morning. That's kind of when I'm going off in the morning. Lewis, Naheem Oford was recently here, and I think Alabama did make a lot of ground with an in-state prospect from Alabama. I think the full court press with Ryan Williams and kind of everything that Alabama is selling will probably make Naheem Oford flip from Ohio State. I'm putting that out there in the world. I think it's going to happen. So we'll see what goes on from there. But I appreciate you guys being here for this. It sounds robotic. I know, Will. I just said inside the comment box, a lot of people have been saying that I've been sounding robotic. So I'm working on the audio behind the scenes, but I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. I'm going to continue to tighten up that audio. Hope to get everything taken care of sooner than later, and I'll be in touch. Thank you for watching today right here on Bama Football on YouTube. This was the Midday Report recruiting, and as news happens, think Bama Football on YouTube, and I'll be back